Gronings, in the dialect itself called Grunnegs or Grönnegs, is a collective name for some Friso-Saxon dialects spoken in the province of Groningen and around the Groningen border in Drenthe and Friesland.Gronings, and the strongly related varieties in East Frisia have a strong Frisian influence and take a remarkable position within West Low German. The dialect is characterized by a typical accent and vocabulary, which differ strongly from the other Low Saxon dialects. Area. The name Gronings can almost be defined geographically, as can be seen on the map below. This is especially true for the northern part of Drenthe. The Drents, spoken in the north of the province of Drenthe, is somewhat related with the Groninger language, but the core linguistics is Drents. For the dialects in the southeast called Colonials, it's a bit different on both sides of the Groningen-Drenthe border. As the dialect spoken there is much more related to Gronings. In the Frisian municipality of Kolumeland and Nieuwekrijland, the western dialect called Westerkwartiers is also spoken, as well as a separate Groningen dialect called Kalumapomsters. The latter is spoken in the Frisian village of Kalumapomp and has more West Frisian influences, while most Groningen dialects have a strong influence from the Satterland Frisian language. Dialects. The Groningsg language can be subdivided into 7 dialects: Kalumapomsters, Westerkwartiers, Stadsders, Ojlandsters, Oldatsters, Westerwolds, Colonials. Other varieties of Dutch German Low Saxon. Example: though there are several differences between the dialects, they form a single dialect group. Most words are written the same way, but the pronunciation can differ. The examples show the pronunciation. Westerkwartiers, te enige dat we niet doen is slik dilm. Stads Grunnegs, te enige dat we niet doen is bal jezo et delm. Hooglandsters, te enige dat we niet duden is sliko et digen. Westerwolds, te enige dat we niet dun is slikker et delm. Colonials, te enige wat we niet duden is slikker et julm. East Frisian Low Saxon, dat eenige dat wij niet doen is slikker delen. North German Low Saxon, dat eenige dat wij niet doen is snabelkram delm. Standard Dutch, het enige wat we niet doen is snoep delen. Standard German, das einzige, was wir nicht machen, ist Sussigkeiten ausstellen. Scots, the only thing we deny day is we ut nashters. English, the only thing we don't do is hand out sweets. Classification. There are many uncertainties about the classification and categorization of Gronings. Some linguists see it as a variety of Low German, also called Nedersaksisch in the Netherlands. These words are actually more political than linguistic, because they unite a large group of very differing varieties. Categorizing Gronings as Low German could be considered correct, but there is controversy surrounding the existence of the linguistic unity of Low German. Others, especially German linguists, see Gronings East Frisian as a separate group of German dialects. The Frisian influence, the sounds OU, I and UI and the typical accent are crucial here. Gronings East Frisian would be categorized as Friso-Saxon dialects instead of Low German. Other linguists categorize all Gronings East Frisian dialects as North Low German. In that case, all the other Low German varieties in the Netherlands are categorized as Westphalian. Dutch linguists in particular classify Gronings as Dutch Low Saxon, in Germany also called Westplatte. In this case the Dutch influence is crucial, while the dialects on the other side of the national border are strongly influenced by High German languages. These influences concern especially the vocabulary, like the Dutch word voorbeeld, which is verbeeld in Gronings, while the East Frisian dialects use biespoel, which is related to the High German word basebeel. In this case there is no separation between Groningen at East Frisian and Westphalian, but rather a difference between Groningen and East Frisian. The national border would equal the linguistic border. Origin. The Gronings dialects are a kind of mix between two languages, Old Frisian and Middle Low German. Frisian was spoken in the Omlanden, while the city, the surrounding rural area called Gorecht and the eastern lordship of Westerwald were Low Saxon. When the city of Groningen developed an important position in the Omlanden, a switch from Frisian to Saxon occurred, although it was not a complete switch because there are many Frisian influences in the new Groningen language. Many Frisian words and grammatic features are still in use today. In less than 1 century, the same process also started in East Frisia, from the city of Emden, which was influenced by the Hanseatic League. This explains the strong relation between both varieties. In the second half of the 16th century, Grönnegs started to evolve towards Middle Dutch because of the strong influence of the new standard language, but because of the political, geographical and cultural isolation of Groningen. A strong provincialism in the first half of the 19th century caused Groningen to develop itself in a significant way. The sounds that are used today were formed in this period. Usage. Daily life. Today approximately 65% of people from Groningen can speak and write Grönnegs. If the larger cities and villages of Groningen, Hugesen, Sappemeer, Veendam, Stadskanaal, Delfzijl and Winschoten are excluded from this count, the percentage would rise to about 80%. Almost all of the older people use Groningsg as the main language. Until the second half of the 20th century, Groningsg was more important in Groningen than Dutch. Young people also speak the language frequently, although many pure Groningsg words are lost. Since the second half of the 20th century, the usage of the language is declining. Because of globalization, other languages like Dutch and English are becoming more important. Many parents today chose to raise the children in the Dutch language. Media. In the media, Groningsg is used frequently. For example, on the local radio station Radio Noord, Groningsg is used by the presenters and listeners. On local television, Groningsg is used less, but the weather forecast is always presented in Groningsg. The news is always presented in Dutch, since not all viewers understand Groningsg. In the second half of 2007, the local television broadcast a series in Groningsg called Boven Water. Another program that is in and about Groningsg is Grunnegs, which is actually some kind of education in Groningsg. Examples of Groningsg magazines are Tol en Tijken and Krod, which actually means cannabis. There are many Groningsg dictionaries as well. The first official dictionary was the NIEUW Groninger Woordenboek and was put together by Cornelis de Laan. This dictionary and the writing system used in the book became the basics of each dictionary and writing system ever since. More recent is Zakwoordenboek Gronings, Nederlands, Gronings by Simon Rieker, which is a little less specific. K.G. Peterman wrote a dictionary of Groningsg alliterations which is titled Gezondheid en Groundness, Education and Culture. Although Groningsg, as part of Low Saxon, is an official language, it is not a mandatory subject in schools. Still, many primary schools in Groningen choose to give attention to the regional language. This attention varies from inviting storytellers to teaching about the language. In secondary schools, Groningsg does not receive much attention. At the University of Groningen, it is possible to study the language. In October 2007, Groningsg became an official study within the Faculty of Letteren. The new professor, Simon Rieker, had already undergone many studies in the language and is famous for his dictionary. Another possible way to learn Groningsg is taking classes. In the last few years, the trend of people taking courses has risen. More and more people, also people from outside who come to live in the area in which Groningsg is spoken, are interested in the language and are willing to take courses. There are two types of courses. The first one is understanding and the second one is understanding and speaking. Every year around March Het van de Groningen Cultuur organizes a writing contest in every municipality in Groningen. Everyone can participate and send in a poem or some prose. The winners of the different ages succeed to the provincial round. Music. Well-known Groningen musical artists are W.I.A. Buse, Alu van Boluis, Alex Wiesering, Eltje Dodema, P.E.Q. Darlema and Amp Rui Rhinus, Birdie, Hale Gewoon and Ede Stahl. Every year the supply of successful artists in regional languages in the Netherlands is rising. Frisian Substratum. Some linguists classify Gronings to North Low Saxon, to which also East Frisian belongs. Both related dialects are characterized by a Frisian influence. Hence other linguists classify Groningsg East Frisian as a separate group of Northwest Low Saxon or Friso-Saxon dialects. The most important similarities are grammar features and the vocabulary. The most important differences are the writing system and the loanwords. The East Frisian writing system is based on High German, while Groningsg uses many Dutch features. For example, the word for ice skate is in Groningsg Schuvel and in East Frisian Schovel, while the pronunciation is almost alike. Here are a few examples of words compared to West Frisian, East Frisian, Low Saxon, German, Dutch and English. The East Frisian combination oo is pronounced like how in the English word now. In some parts of the Rhineland they say blyout, which is a leftover of Frisian in this area. The East Frisian combination aa is pronounced like a in the British English word water. In Groningsg this sound is written like oa. The word water would be written like woater in Groningsg. The pronunciation of the word card is similar to the Groningsg word quod, which means angry. The East Frisian combination e and ee are pronounced like the y in the English word fly asterisk. Linguistic distance from Standard Dutch. After Limburgish, Groningsg is the dialect with the farthest distance from Standard Dutch. Reasons for this are vocabulary and pronunciation. The Groningsg vocabulary is quite different from Dutch. For example, Groningsg, de hest en hail in de ludij schuvel open kunnen, pronounced. Dutch, jijhet heel veel werknemers die kunnen schaatsen, pronounced. English, you have a lot of employees who can ice skate. The pronunciation differs from the writing system. The n ending of many words is pronounced like in most varieties of Dutch. In Groningsg and many other Low Saxon dialects these words are pronounced with a glottal stop, thus making the words ending in or. The Groningen people speak quite fast compared to the Dutch people, with the result that a lot of words are pronounced together as one word. Groningsg is also a dialect with many unique expressions. 1/3 of the language consists of these expressions. In the example sentence en Haelander is an example of those expressions. Many of these are given in the Nieuwe Groninger Woordenboek by K. ter Laan published in 1977. Because of this far distance from Standard Dutch and the official status of the neighboring Frisian, Grunnegs is considered as a separate language by some of its native speakers, while linguists consider it part of Dutch Low Saxon. Example: Lord's Prayer os voder in hemel, dat genoom haarlegd worden zal, dat joan kunenkriek common mag, dat joan wil doen wordet, op perd netters in hemel. Tisto adio ar we verlet om hebben gefos dat vandorg en rekeno esne to wat we verkeerd doen, net zoals we vergeven elk dijos wat andet. En breng os nate in verlaiden, more wil van verlaiden ons verlossen. Den jo binnen te kunenkriek, de kracht en de heerlijkheid. Ver in I Wegade. Amen vocabulary. The Gronings vocabulary is strongly related to East Frisian, Low Saxon, Frisian and West Frisian. However, today the pure Gronings vocabulary is in decline. More and more Gronings words are being replaced by Groningized Dutch words. For example, the word stevel is sometimes replaced by the word leers. Although most people know the pure words, they are less and less used. For example, because people think others will not understand them, or because they are too long and the Dutch word is much easier. An example of the latter is the word for sock, which is hoezevorrel in Grönnegs. The Dutch word sock is much easier, so it is more often used than hoezevorrel.